Alright, new year, new games, new opportunities. Let us have some fun. Well, that's unfortunate. Moshi, sick here. Have you ever wanted to roleplay as Genetic Dead End? Or have you ever watched a zombie series and thought to yourself, damn, they're making pretty stupid decisions. I bet I can make worse. Then let us go on an adventure in Project Zomboid. Project Zomboid is a hardcore survival game where your main objective is to survive for as long as you possibly can. To achieve that goal, you loot, fight, and suffer through your miserable choices and hope for the best. The game is almost a decade old, but has changed quite a bit since its initial release, and gets updated frequently, so my video is justified. I divided the video into two sections. The first part will be a review, like you're expecting, and then a bit of storytelling of my adventures in this game. Story. There isn't one, it's just your generic zombie apocalypse. So just choose a zombie story of your choice and let us get on with the gameplay. When you first start a new game, you need to pick a starting point on the map and then your occupation. This will be basically your class if you want to use RPG terms. I won't go over every occupation simply because they don't stand out enough on their own with unique skill trees. The occupations can be generally categorized into three types. The unemployed, who has no additional traits and is generally a failure of society, basically a student who is high all day and just lays on his bed. Or you're like me when I was a student and waste your time with watching anime and playing video games, which in turn turns you into a weirdo and an outcast. But on the other hand, this lifestyle teaches you different useful traits like fast fingers because you need to close the tabs very fast. Or a fast reader, from reading all that literature in the library. Also keen hearing, because you're always on guard for potential intruders like your roommate, just to prevent that he does not hear what you are watching. Then you have your useful occupations like fire officer, farmer, fisherman, and burglar. These give you various bonus traits based on their background. The last type are the unique occupations like the veteran, who is desensitized from seeing all that weird shit online and is now dead inside. Or the security guard, who requires less sleep because he's a night owl, just like me, and can't integrate into the society's sleep schedule. Or the lumberjack, who swings his axe faster. After you decided how you will contribute to society, you can now customize your character with various traits. There are several positive and negative traits you can choose from, each with their corresponding costs. Some of the positive traits are, for example, inconspicuous, which, as the name implies, helps you to blend into society and be less likely to call out as a weep. Or iron gut, which reduces your chances to get food poisoning from drinking all that gamer girl bathwater. Or eagle eye, which helps you to spot children at the nearest playground more easily if you're a Genshin Impact player. To balance out all the positive traits, you also need to have some negative ones, like being short-sighted from staring at the monitor all day, or the opposite of inconspicuous, being conspicuous, if you wear an ahegao hoodie in public, or being an illiterate, which is not that much different from real life. And finally, you can decide how your abomination is gonna look like. Just don't get too attached to your creation. It won't survive long anyway. When you first come into the game, you will probably be confused by all the different menus and confusing layout. Don't worry, it will be muscle memory in no time. Just activate the tutorial and you're good to go. After that, you can start looting everything around you. It will probably be useful in the future. Maybe. Just expect to die very quickly in the beginning. And you should get used to it. Eventually, you will get the hang of it. The game can be a bit overwhelming at first. It's not like your other zombie survival games. Here, you need to basically babysit a newborn child, because you need to make sure that the body temperature is right, that it has enough to drink and eat, and also that the character doesn't get bored or depressed. Speaking of bored and depressed, for some reason, these states can happen really quick, which is probably a satire to our current population where people get depressed after one day without internet. If I were in a zombie apocalypse, boredom would be my least problem. And if I would get bored, I would just drink some flavorful drinks to keep me happy. You only have a narrow cone of sight in front of you. It's there to prevent you ADHD ass from looking around and getting distracted. The crafting system in this game is truly fleshed out. It allows you to become an Amish farmer or an Eastern European car repair shop worker. You could build your own dream home, but I don't have the patience or the attention span for that. So let's not talk about the crafting. Just break into a home of some suburban family and show them the meaning of communism. Your home is now our home. Your prime source of knowledge will be the TV. Here you can improve your skills through watching different anime series and VHA tapes. For example, by watching Shokugeki no Soma, you will become a master chef yourself in no time. Through reading mangas, you will get an XP bonus on a specific skill corresponding to the red skill book. Speaking of skills, every character has the same skills and you can increase your level through doing the specific task, like destroying all furniture in your surrounding area to increase your carpentry skill, or tailoring through the creation of costumes of your favorite waifu. You can improve your mechanic skill if you roleplay as a Polish person and disassemble and steal all the car parts of your neighborhood. The reason why mechanic specifically is important is that if you didn't choose burglar as your occupation, you cannot hotwire cars unless you have one electrical into mechanical. You can level your electrical skill through putting a screwdriver or a fork into an outlet. The electrons will flow into your brain and teach you how electricity works. There are only normal zombie enemies and no special ones like in the other games, unfortunately. These zombies are so slow that you can just walk away, but try not to slip up, or you will, in most cases, die on the spot. They are everywhere and in every home. To deal with these zombies, you have to fight. Melee combat will be your primary choice, for the simple fact that you won't find a gun and ammunition for said gun. Oh, and they are fucking useless in comparison to melee weapons if you don't have aim and reload skilled. You need to be a trained Navy SEALs American sniper that can headshot a Middle Eastern child from at least 10 miles away to hit anything with a gun in this game. So just don't use them. It will maybe cost your life. You'll see what I mean later. The game is one of those games that have a lot of depth to it and therefore a huge wiki. All kinds of information. For those that don't like to play games on their own and only want to min-max from the first time they start the game, I can only recommend them go there and have your fun. But don't use it and just experience it for yourself, because as a wise man once said, losing is fun. Almost every time you open a door, you will get jump scared. If not by the zombie directly, then by the sound that is played. After a while, I decided to change that sound into something more fitting. Oh yeah, and another feature that I didn't mention, the game has multiplayer. It's like a corporate team building exercise, because your so-called friends will be responsible for 95% of your deaths, because they decided to recreate WrestleMania in your home. Because, and I quote, it will be doable if we both push them down the stairs. It is also a great simulation to see how your friends would act if a zombie apocalypse would break out in real life. It would be an understatement to say that the game has a bit of jank to it. Sometimes it can be fun, but other times also frustrating, because your groomed character gets bitten and dies due to controls being less than optimal. As with all these complex survival simulations, I only touch the surface of it, but there are more than enough content creators that will talk about the game. So just look out for them if you want to have an in-depth analysis of the mechanics. I just focused on the vanilla experience, but there is a Steam workshop where you can mod your game with either good mods and useful ones like new weapons, cars and equipment, that makes the game at least 10 times better and guns finally a viable choice, or enhance your experience with more questionable ones. Finally, I can live out my Genshin addiction in another game. Now I ran out of jokes, so instead of boring explaining more about the game, I'm going to tell you a story of my characters and how they ended miserably. Okay, the video will look a bit scuffed from here on out, because the recording settings got fucked up and now it looks a bit crunchy. Just imagine it's 2008 and 360p is the standard. Once my friend and I decided to play on a Kingsmouth map instead of the normal one. Luckily we spawned right next to each other. However, due to a bug that we couldn't fix, or to be more precise, we didn't bother, I had no map. We started looting for useful items and materials in our close proximity, and on the balcony I spotted the next area I wanted to investigate, the parking lot. After a while we decided to set up our base in the hallway. This base consisted of a pink tote bag and a garbage bag. After a bit of looting, I realized that my partner was mentally retarded and only wanted to achieve a chat physique, instead of helping me in any way or form. So I left the hotel behind and finally explored more of our surroundings. At the parking lot I tried to drive a car, unfortunately they were all locked and or had no keys inside of them or were out of gas. So I ran up north, and several house break-ins and fights later, I visited the border to apparently North Korea, because there was no way for me to get inside. Let me in. Let me in. I decided to head home, back to my friend, and found the police station on the way back, which will play a crucial role later on. Before going back to our base, I scavenged a bit more and found out that my friend decided to kill himself. The loneliness without me around drove him into a depression and ultimately into a suicide where he jumped off the roof. Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god! Or just glitched out, as he claims. A new character unfortunately didn't mean he changed his behavior. After we visited our base, we finally set out on an adventure to the docks in hopes of finding useful weapons, so that we would be prepared for the police station later on. My friend managed to find a gun, but that's it. And even worse, I got bitten in a fight, so I just resigned myself to fate and let it happen. So my next character ran back to help my partner, but the retard managed to get stuck again and got killed. Now I had to kill a zombie to get our loot back. This endeavor turned out to be a bit tricky, so I died. I had enough and decided to finally use my sick old League of Legends MLG skills to kill all the zombies. Yeah, that's just basic kiting, I know. Later I had a big brain moment and got killed again. We finally managed to leave the dogs behind and were now aiming for the police station. In another big brain moment, I ran inside the police station and tried to hide from the zombies. But this obviously didn't work out and I got mauled to death. At this point we were just tired and wanted to get our loot back from our corpses. This should be an easy venture.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy. Doing the exact same fucking thing over and over and over and over and over again, thinking this time is gonna be different. No, please. This time is gonna be different.
Alright, it was an excruciating, painful experience, because I'm a complete retard. Oh, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding again. Did I just fucking did it again? Finally, my friend managed to bait all the zombies on the roof and I got a shotgun. So we just had to kill them now. No. Yeah, the shotgun didn't do shit and sucked ass. So we quickly died and never wanted to play this map again. And with these words, I hope you liked the video and have a nice day. Goodbye!